that most of it is wiped out or destroyed. And I think we need to restart the civilization on a lower level with with electricity not distributed like we have now, but on a much smaller scale. And I explained that also in my book. We never will have in the future a civilization with the level we have reached today. I'm quite sure of that, pretty sure, because this event will wipe us out completely. Just go back 200 years in time, and then you will see what I mean. The last time we had 11,500 years between the cataclysms. Now it is 11,800 years. That's 300 years more. What did we do in 300 years? An unbelievable part. And so in very short time, we can reach a super high level of everything. But we can also lose it in a flash, and that is what will happen. Everything will be wiped out.
Yep. Yes. Thank you, Patrick. I know I've got my abacus ready. Groundrod, you have a question?
Well, this is from a clip as well, Patrick. Do you think it probable that planets such as Earth, with active plates floating on energetic magma, obviously heated to this energy by some process, have plasma cores rather than spinning molten metal? If so, what is your take on the planetary expansion model?
Yeah, that's quite complicated. Well, if you look at our solar system, the Earth is quite unique with the crust. The other ones are not having the same, or most of them don't have the same like we have. I don't think our Earth is much larger than millions of years ago. Is that what he meant?
I'm not sure.
I think I know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, well, because I've been, I think that the idea is that the plasma, that the Earth is a lot larger than it was a long time ago. Yeah. And that, and I think what Cliff was saying, and he mentioned this in an interview, that he was hoping that if the expansion model with a plasma core was correct, that the effects at the surface of the Earth would be less severe, and that we might not reverse direction, because of course we wouldn't have the problem of a spinning solid core in the center changing direction, and subsequently changing the direction of the Earth. Okay. So I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah. I don't think we changed a lot in millions of years, so there will be, of course, in the future, as I stated before, if the inner core of the Earth grows, then at a certain moment in time, the polar reversal will stop, but also life on Earth will stop then. We are now only alive because of these happenings. If it doesn't happen, we wouldn't be alive. No magnetic field. If the magnetic field of the Earth drops to zero, we will die. And all the animals on the Earth will die. So this is needed.
I think part of that system, the hope in that system, is that the plasma would generate a magnetic field similar to what conventional science thinks the dynamo does. I don't know if it's correct. I mean, honestly, nobody really knows because we can't drill down that far.
Nobody knows. But if you just think logically, the magnetic field of the Earth is going down, so you need to recharge it. How can you recharge it? By a plasma storm, of course. And how can you explain the polarity changes from North and South Pole every 11,005 years? Well, you can only explain that if the inner core goes upside down, and that explains then the Earth crust slide, the tidal wave, and all the rest. And it is what the ancients stated, because on the temples from Egypt in Dendera, you can see that after a cataclysm, the Earth started rotating on the opposite from the zodiac. So it makes complete sense to me that what they are telling the ancients.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Did you have a follow-up?
Well, it's mostly just an observation I got from Cliff a few hours ago, Patrick, and I was curious what you thought about it. Is his observations on the east coast of all the continents except Antarctica resemble each other, and the west coasts of all continents resemble each other in both geology and geomorphology, and even cartographically. Yet no west coast really resembles the east coast of the same continent. This is markedly apparent in the Americas North and South, and even is true of Greenland, Great Britain, Australia, and even India. This is also true of species of fish and critters found on the opposing coasts. Even Australia, taken as a whole, to include Europe, conforms to this observation. Have you looked at that?
Not really, but you need to understand that this cataclysm is every 11,500 years, and that can have huge changes to a lot of things that we obviously not can explain. And there could be an easy explanation for it that we overlook. So I don't have an explanation for it.
Thanks, Patrick.
Diane, you have a question for Patrick.
Yes, this is another one from Cliff. Given that the orbital center of rotation of the moon is within the...
Oh, yeah, wait, one moment. Now I understand the question better. If you have a crust slide to the pole, let us say the United States is going to slide to the pole, then the mountains from the United States and Canada will go up. The mountains that are in South America and that go to the equator, they go down. The same is if you have a reversal of the rotation of the Earth, depending from what kind of movement that you make, then the mountains can go up or down because of the stopping of the rotation and the way to the other side. So that has to be the right explanation. The same like the mountains will go up in the United States and in Canada when you go to the pole. And in China and the Himalaya rose the last time because it went up to poleward, and now it will go to the equator. So it is possible that the Himalayas will go kilometers down in 2012. Do you understand this?
Oh, we're trying to, Patrick. It's a very deep subject.
Yeah.
I think we need to listen to it again.
Yeah. Okay, Diane, ask your question, please.
Yeah, this is from Cliff as well. Given that the orbital center of rotation of the moon is within the crust of the Earth, suggesting almost certainly that the moon is hollow, rather than between Earth and the moon, what do you think will be the impact of this effect on any potential flattening of the equatorial bulge of the Earth and subsequent crustal shift?
Yeah. I don't think that will do a lot. never thought about it, of course, but if you see that the moon has a minor effect on the sea, then it will also have a minor effect on the crust. And I don't think this will be very high. The movement from the Earth, the reversal of the rotation will be mostly coming from the inner core of the Earth. And the moon won't have that much of an effect.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. We'll just finish this part and then we go into 2012 survival. You talked about Lake Titicaca, and we're thinking about safe places. You know, with Lake Titicaca, obviously it came up from a seaport very high up. These upthrust events, do you consider that in your calculation of safe places? Because you talk about going to mountains, but what happens if an upthrust event causes a particular sea level location to go up 8,000 feet?
I told you before, you have to stay away thousands of kilometers, at least 2,000 kilometers if possible, or 1,500 kilometers from the equator at the moment. Let us say that you are now in Brazil in the high mountains, and the earth crust slide happens, and Brazil is catapulted 3,000 kilometers higher. And if you go over the equator, then the mountains can collapse completely. You will be wiped out by the tidal wave. Doesn't have to be 2 kilometers high, even 1 kilometer high, and you are gone. That is why I am stating on my website that you need to be you need to have several groups around the world, but because you don't know beforehand how the crust slide will happen. You can only guess. I'm guessing the United States, but it can also be the axis from South Africa and Europe. And then most of the people in the United States will survive, and Europe will be completely gone. So that is a possibility, but it's not a high possibility. And to survive this, we need of a lot of places survival groups, as high as possible, at least, I'm saying, 2 kilometers high. And then you have a chance. And the most chance you have in Africa, like South Africa or Ethiopia or the high mountains of Morocco and so on, because Africa is the most stable continent. You can find there animals that live a very long time.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Odison, your survival plan.
Hi. So I'm attempting to survive by being intentionally submerged by the tsunami inside a moderate...
No, it's not a tsunami, it's a reversal of the rotation of the Earth. So
I'll say a giant wave, you know.
A giant